Hello there, it's Steve here in Sydney again from the Gnosis website truebluehealer.com, where in just 5 minutes you can get, as you were, 20 minutes, you can get immediate physical evidence that something's changed. And in fact, the big change is your divine spark has been activated and starts drip feeding into your internal awareness. And benefits will include vivid messaging dreams so that you wake up and begin to realise what you really are. And you'll also get some help with useful information literally being typed into your mind's eye, such as websites you need to visit, books you might need to read, people you've got to find by name, that sort of thing. And it can start within a week of going into the website. So, and that's all backed up with physical evidence that it's not your imagination, it's not wishing and hoping, and it is not faith. Okay, so it's well worth doing. It's the trip of a lifetime. It beats anything. It beats any ocean cruise, I'll tell you that. And I've been on ocean cruises. So, truebluehealer.com, just 20 minutes of your time, and it's all free, and all questions will be answered for you. What I have for you in what I hope is going to be a short video is just two items. That is a quick and easy way to relate the JQ to people who don't know much about it but would like to know without spending 19 hours explaining World War I, World War II, the Bible, the Quran and everything else that you have to go through. So there's a way of doing that. I've put together an analogy which will any average normal person can relate to, and secondly the solution, which seems to me to be in plain sight but nobody wants to see it yet it's repeatedly in our face. So to explain the JQ, the question of thing, to people, to casual acquaintances who show a mild interest, and how on earth could I learn all that? I don't know. I've never had the time. I've had my head down working all of my life, but I'm getting concerned about the future. And you can say, well, I'll give you an explanation here that everyone can relate to, and it sort of goes like this. Every one of us living in our hometowns and cities, I'm sure you've all seen something very cute and disarming, and that is when a sheepdog like a border collie rounds up groups of children playing games, basketball, football, soccer, whatever. You've seen how amusing it is to watch the dog laying down in the grass, crouching as low as possible, running around in circles, following the herd, and then racing in to nip somebody's ankles, and then racing out again to hide in the grass again, and then furiously barking on the other side of the group. And you'll slowly notice that what he's trying to do, and he can't really succeed, but he's trying very hard to get the children to go as a group through the goalpost. Because for some reason his brain's programmed that there's a gate, and if there's a group of things wandering about, they have to be made to go through the gate with ankle biting, nipping, and lots of furious barking without really hurting anybody, you see. So, very amusing this is to see, and I'm sure you've all seen this at different times. You see border collies do it. They are the brightest dogs we have, and they get that way by being inbred for many hundreds of generations. An interesting thing about the border collie is that he's driven entirely by genetic hardwired impulse. He's having a whale of a time exercising his basically herding of deer skills, herding of prey skills into the service of man, and he's so inbred, he has no idea what he's really doing or why he's doing it, but he's enjoying himself. He's having a whale of a time. Two things never occur to the border collie or sheepdog: that those things running around are not sheep, for one, and secondly, they don't even need to be rounded up, and no one asked the dog to round up that group of things on the football field. Now, there's something there that links to a group of people with the same inbred capacity, the same inbred desire to make humans run through hoops. I've already mentioned in the previous video that it's a genetic tendency for a lot of Jewish people to get on the world stage in the spotlight and start yelling at everybody that they should do this and they should do that. And they use stick and carrot praise and abuse and all sorts of things, and shaming people, demolishing their cultural history, forever trying to control people in these great civilizations such as Europe. Now, these Jewish people, I'm sure they don't know what they're doing. They're just obeying their natural genetic impulses. It's hardwired after hundreds of generations of inbreeding, just like the sheepdog. And just like the sheepdog doesn't really know why he's doing much, he's just enjoying what comes naturally. The Jewish opinion leaders that we have all over the internet and in the media are doing the same thing. And the same two things don't occur to the Jewish opinion leaders. They love to fill our media and TV screens and everything else. It never occurs to them that we don't want to be rounded up and we don't need to be rounded up. We can function, thank you very well, without being rounded up by people barking commands at us and trying to shame us into obedience to their non-existent morality. And the other thing is, they take it upon themselves entirely, sort of just like the silly inbred sheepdog. No one ever says these people need to be rounded up. Go round out that group of humans over there. Mr. Jew, go and do that. That's your job. You're a very well-trained inbred sheepdog. Go over there and round up all those humans and make them jump through hoops, go through gates, and show them who's in charge. Right? No one ever tells them to do that, but they do it anyway. They take it upon themselves, just like the border collie sheepdog rounding up kids playing soccer. I know a lot about this because I had a corgi dog that's a sheepdog, and he spent most of his time rounding us up in our own backyard, running around nipping ankles and barking furiously from the other side of the group. And you'd notice that what appeared to be madness had a method to it, and that is he was always slowly getting us toward the gate, you see. And we used to marvel at how he knew what to do, that he even knew what the gate was, that he understood why would we have to go through it. Well, he took it upon himself because it was his natural genetic impulse, hardwired from many generations of inbreeding. So that's how I'm damn sure that most people could understand this analogy, because everyone likes dogs, everyone likes animals, and you can see a lot of behaviour in animals that humans do also. In my dog's case, to make it more enjoyable for him, I used to make sheep noises, so that used to help a bit. And I'm sure you've done such similar games with your sheepdogs that you've had as wonderful pets. So I'm hoping with that sort of sheepdog metaphor, you could explain the natural tendencies of some groups is extremely detrimental to the rest of the human race. It's amusing when sheepdogs do it. It's not amusing when Jewish people doing their natural behaviour from positions of very high in authority, controlling money, banks and weapon systems and air forces and navies. We have endless warfare in the Middle East because of the natural tendency for them to make other people jump through hoops and obey their commands, their furious barking, their ankle nipping and all that sort of stuff. That is the essential question that we have to deal with. I'm hoping that'll work for you. You can try it on a few people, see what you think. So they'll be familiar. If they're with you so far after that analogy, understanding it, that really it's just the strange, hardwired, natural behaviour of a single ethnic group, rather like a breed of humans, right? Their behaviour is fixed like that of the sheepdog, and it caused the bloodiest century of all time in human history, namely the 20th century. And their spokesmen, their opinion leaders, killed, I don't know how many, what was it, hundreds of millions of people. A lot of people don't know about World War II, World War I, and Lenin and Marx and all that stuff. But that's a good starting point to say it's a breed of people who are so preoccupied with carrying out their genetic programming that they just keep doing it ad nauseum to the detriment of the human race. And now we are threatened with 1 billion people being genocided, which is a greater crime against humanity than even the Mongols did. So could you lead people that way through in a conversation in 10, 15 minutes if they really want to know? Now I promised you a short video, so here I'm going to go to part 2 on the menu, which is the solution. The solution is staring us in the face. It's going to be celebrated again on July the 14th in France. It's called Bastille Day. Bastille Day is where the French have very fond memories. They celebrate, they have marching bands and Air Force flypasts and fireworks and all that, the Republic, red, white and blue, etc. And it's based on the celebration of what happened in 1789, which was a revolution where tyranny was overthrown. This is the fond memory they have. We're going to leave it like that. We won't ask too many questions. They overthrew the tyranny that was the cause of their misery and executed the king the next day, having stormed the Bastille. Executed the king the next day and then killed 16,000 people, many of them aristocrats. Now, how bad were the crimes of the aristocrats in 1789? Not very bad at all compared to the self-appointed, crony-appointed aristocrats we have today, threatening Europe with genocide. The Macrons and all those people in the Brussels EU headquarters, unelected, just think they're born to rule. They behave like aristocrats. But the breathtaking intention to quietly do the greatest genocide in history because of seemingly natural behaviour by many of the members, the movers and shakers that do their natural behaviour infiltrating positions high in the government. I don't think the French aristocrats in 1789 ever considered genociding their entire kingdom. So I think the crime that's already started in Europe is, what can I say, orders of magnitude greater than any crime against humanity in history. So I think July the 14th, we really need, or thereabouts, maybe a more opportune day, to redo the storming of the Bastille, which is a great sort of a political and historical event, and a lot of French people get drunk on that day and they celebrate and all that. And they have guillotine music, it exists, in their taverns and pubs and all that sort of stuff, you see. That's why I say the answer is staring you in the face. Do you really have to kill 16,000, 17,000 people, like in 1789? Probably less than that. But you'd have to do it simultaneously or concurrently, whatever, in about 6 countries. Belgium, number 1, France, England, Holland, Germany. It's leading the charge to annihilate the good German people that have given the world so much. If you think about their literature over hundreds of years, their inventions, for Christ's sake, they invented the motor car, revolutionised transport. I mean, for goodness sake, what did the Jews ever invent? I can't think of any Jewish inventions. And it's very important that it's not just Jewish people. There's lots of enablers and supporters, coattail hangers, clustering around them, you see. So they have to go too. And that's why I call it eliticide. And the need is urgent, very, very urgent. Because Macron's just talking about bringing in another 10 million sub-Saharan Africans to move the genocide along, to speed it up. The people most qualified to do this are Europeans. I'm not really sort of in Europe. The people most qualified to do this are the naturally occurring counterculture of conservatives, the following of Paul Joseph Watson, who 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds are writing to Paul Joseph Watson saying, I'm just so weary of going through this Marxist education system. It's completely wrong. It makes me want to puke. Paul Joseph Watson's got a following of seemingly millions of them. they've got to start thinking that it will dawn on them, I'm certain, that if they want to have children, live a happy, prosperous life, and grandchildren, and carry on the way of life they enjoy, then they've got to move on the elites, these sheepdog people with their hard wiring, where they can't stop their genetic behaviour. And it's got them thrown out of hundreds of countries. The last count I heard was 87 countries, 350 throwouts. So they can't stop their behaviour. It's clearly genetic. And there's not many ways to stop genes proliferating and carrying on the problem, is there? They're just a breed of human that's not compatible with any other tribe on the planet. The rest of us get along pretty well, don't we, when you think about it? What if we didn't have the 20th century with those people playing their sheepdog game, getting us to kill each other en masse, 70 million people or something, just to gratify their natural sheepdog behaviour, getting us to jump through hoops, for goodness sake. Now, what actually motivates this breed of human to keep wanting to corral other tribes and basically do evil to them and run them down in every degenerate way they can think? Well, essentially it's fear. They cannot live amongst other tribes. And it's sheer fear that makes them always wanting to keep other people groups on the back foot, jumping through hoops, running through gates, not knowing what's going on, disinformation, dissimulation, confusion, so they feel safe from the predatory ability of all these other people. So one possible answer might be, which isn't going to work, one possible answer would be for them all to take Valium and calm down. Because it's just chronic fear, latent, permanent, high-level fear that drives them to desperately need to control everybody else, keep them all running around in circles through hoops and everything, so they feel safe. So that breed of human doesn't feel safe amongst any other tribe of humans. So they are the problem, and they've been responsible for the deaths of hundreds of millions of people in the last century. We know that for certain now because we've had time, we've got the internet to share all the information. We know the information is in, it's beyond question. History speaks loudly about this. So, I'll leave you now because I did promise you a short video. Bye for now. Steve here in Sydney, over and out.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats? Ils viennent juste victoire.